weddings on the gather and the attract.
The other thing that I was thinking about recommending is where it says, do not require a conditional use permit from the planning board, and then it says, or a license or permit from the select board.
Wait a minute, which one are you on? Oh, the ones gathering intending to less than 300 participants?
Correct. Below the minor one. So is it possible to recommend that a event permit still be collected from the board so that we know that events are going on in town?
Well, that really, if you, we used a family wedding as an example, that why would somebody have to come for a conditional use permit if they wanted to have their son or daughter get married in their backyard? I mean, that just doesn't, we didn't think that was.
Yeah, that was my other thing too, is I would like to not exclude weddings. Because we're hooked on this whole, the wedding. It was during your board too, they wanted to exclude weddings. But we could still have large weddings on people's properties and still cause damage, so.
Well, we don't specifically say weddings. I have used that, just it could be an anniversary party, a birthday party, or just a weekend event of a family reunion or whatever it might be, and it didn't seem that, I don't personally think people would like very much if they had to come in and get a conditional use permit and pay all the fees, select board fees, planning board fees, to have a family gathering of some sort. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
And that's more or less what we intended, was that we not have them.
Just for me, is because we keep saying it, people are going to think it's okay. That it's just because of wedding, we're not going to do stuff, so. Yes, Chief.
I don't know who's running the meeting, but.
Oh, Joyce is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just a couple of things on that, and maybe I haven't read enough, but is the point of this ordinance for commercial or for-profit events?
It's for any, if you look in the applicability, it says person, corporation, association, or group of any kind, sponsor.
Okay. And then I just saw, again, it may say it later on, but you just read where it doesn't require conditional use permit from the planning board or a license from the select board. I don't think I got an answer when I asked at the public hearing for the planning board. If we're going to require a conditional use permit from the planning board, what is the purpose of requiring the permit from the select board other than collecting another fee?
Well, they have an event permit that they already give out.
Right, but that was to ensure that licenses and things were issued to the people that were holding these events.
Yeah.
I assume the planning board would do that now. So I just don't think there's a role for it if the planning board is going to be doing this.
That's up to the select board to determine if they still want to issue. If they want to change this and they make that recommendation, we could do that. But it's the reason it was.
Unless the select board were requiring information that's not already coming to the planning board.
Correct.
Right? But I don't think that's the case.
Well, I don't know what their requirement is in their event permit, so.
I think the only thing that we're involved in is the bond.
Yes, but that is usually recommended from the planning board in the notice of decision, that the person has to get the bond and has to go through you guys to get the bond. The planning board does not issue bonds or have anything to do with it.
So the only thing we would issue an event permit for was if it was less than 300.
No,
Right.
no, well,
Yeah.
no, it says that, in there it says they do not require a conditional use permit or a permit from the select board for less than 300.
But as a select board, we could require under 300.
That's up to you folks.
That's what I was going to say. I think maybe just the wording can be that, the planning board would have the option or would want a permit, even, less than 300. Even if if the planning board doesn't submit or require a conditional use permit, that we would still, because we'd have it on file that someone came in, they're having a big event.
Right.
And that way, kind of we'd be
Well,
covered.
using the fishing derby as an example, that's, I think, a relevant, current.
I think, yeah.
So by saying that.
I think it's one or the other. Either
Yeah.
the planning board does something bigger and we just do one for just accountability.
So let's.
Even if it's not a fee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it just goes back to the idea that we know that something's going on in the town.
Correct.
Okay. So I hate to go back to the wedding thing again, or let's call it an anniversary or whatever you want.
I love
So
you.
if let's say when I turn 90 and my family wants to throw me a big party.
We're going to do it at the ballpark.
No, just using that. Seriously, is that what you're talking about? That kind of thing? Let's say there were 100 people that came. There won't be, but, I mean, let's say that. I think we need to clarify that because,
Yeah. Well, I think we should do it just a regular, our simple permit could include, hey, do you have enough parking? Do you have enough?
It depends on where it's gonna be.
Yeah, because if it's on a small road and you have 100 people showing up, at least 50 cars might be there. And now we have a safety issue, which is the same thing we had on Cape Road.
so that would be something your board would handle?
Yeah.
Okay,
Not necessarily get a cup, but
yeah.
The other
continuing
thing,
use permit, conditional use permit. But,
I know there's conversation about this, but I still don't see where you can stop it. If, let's just say somebody buys the airport and they want to get a conditional use permit for storage, to run it as a jet, airport, and to have events like this as part of their business.
If they have an event, which just happened this last year, they would have to come for a
Right,
permit.
but he's no different than the lady down on Allen Hill Road that we referred to before, who wants to have events like that as her business. But as long as he does that in his conditional use permit to run the business, he doesn't need a bond anymore.
For the event?
If
You mean-
events are what his business hosts, then he doesn't need a bond anymore.
Why do
So
you say that?
If he's listening, I hope that's what he does.
I see, I see where you're
Yes, sir.
going with that.
Yes,
yeah.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob Cavay, Boothby Road, planning board member. I think when we talked about this, correct me if I'm wrong, Joyce, but in the case of the airport that Emil was just talking about, he would need to come for a conditional permit every time he wanted to have a mass gathering. That would happen outside of the scope of
Of the
his
scope of the business,
Correct,
exactly.
yeah.
The scope of his business includes those.
No, at this present point, I don't believe it does.
I don't either.
No, right, but if Kyle came, and I see where he's going with this, if Kyle came to the board and said, hey, I want a conditional use permit to make this a venue on top of the jetport, and he gets authorization to do so, now that is a business, just like an automotive business across the street, you guys give conditional use permits.
Yeah.
Now he
So-
kind of, yeah, that's,
Okay, so what he would have to do, using the circumstance that Jason just addressed, because he's already gotten a conditional use permit for the airport, for the storage and the planes, et cetera, he would have to come back in if he wants to include that, and he'd have to get another conditional use permit, and there would be many more restrictions put on that would apply to just the event.
Right, but you don't make anybody else get a bond for the same business.
We don't make anybody else do what?
I think what Emil's expressing is the bond, the bond side
Yeah,
of it.
I think we're getting
No.
caught up in
Yeah.
something here.
Yeah.
I still believe that, let's take the airport, because it seems to be the thing that tipped this whole thing over anyway, was that, and he's been in for conditional use permits for things beyond an airport.
Yes.
That happened at our last meeting. It does not mean that once you, it's not that like you designate the place a venue and now he can do whatever he wants and have as many people as he wants without bond. The way that I understand it, and I believe Joyce will agree with me, is that if he wants to have a mass gathering there, that's a new permit and a new process every single time that happens. What are you gonna have? How many people? Are you gonna have this? I'm gonna go down through the whole list every single time, which will kick off the fees, kick off the inspections, kick off various conditions on that regard, depending on what it is.
And how
Maybe
many
he wants to
people?
have drag races out there. I mean, that's gonna change everything.
Okay, I understand.
so,
Wait a minute,
It's not
wait a minute.
an issue of the business having a blanket okay to have
whatever they want to
To
do.
have, yeah, he can't do that. Every single time he's got any kind of event going on out there, he's got to come see us.
That's the
Okay,
way it
so-
stands right now.
Correct.
So, okay, let's just move it away from the airport, just a quick second
Yep,
here.
yep.
I got 35 acres. I wipe it out and I put in a venue. I put in a concert venue. I come here in front of the board, I get my conditional use permit, you give me all my conditions and my uses. So you're telling me that I've got to come and get a bond for, doesn't matter, you gave me my conditional use for a concert venue, I have to come and get bonded every single event that I want?
If you started it as a business, then it would be up to your board to decide, the select board to decide if you wanted to do a bond. But if you as a board decide that that person does not need, because the planning board cannot demand a bond or a price of a bond, if you folks decide that maybe it would be if something adverse happened at an event, then the next one you might require him to have a bond. I don't know. But that's you to decide within your own board laws, whether you want.
The only reason why I understand what Emil's
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
In this current form, that 100%, the way he's laid out right now, he doesn't have a conditional
Right.
use for it.
Right.
And if he wants, until he comes in and puts in a business approach for it, he has to every single time. I totally get that.
Yeah.
I think what Emil's saying is if it is a business, like an automotive shop.
Like
You know,
yours.
you put so many
Am I going to
restrictions.
bond you every time you do a transmission?
Right, I mean, it just, that's what he's saying, and I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, I
It's
get
something that
where
we're
he's
gonna have
coming
to.
from. I just wanted to tell you which way the board was thinking when that particular piece was crafted.
And I agree with that.
You know, the airport might be a little bit different because his gatherings could be various and sundry. Whereas if someone had a wedding venue, and we've had a few people approach us for that, then it's a wedding every single time. We know what it is every single time. I think it's the ones that are more malleable, the ones that we don't have a real strong handle on. Those are the ones, we want to see those people every single time because we don't know what kind of conditions we need to put on them. We don't know what kind of a bond may be necessary if there's a lot of cleanup involved, for example, stuff like that. And we felt that's the situation that we were dealing with out there.
Yeah.
But
I can understand
Yeah.
that.
if he changes his business model over there, he's only going to get one.
That's even if you can
Well,
get,
if we approve it.
that's what I'm saying,
That-
right.
If we
Feel
approve
free to
it.
tell me I'm going off course here, because maybe I am. But I think it still deserves discussion, whether it's now or some other time. But it doesn't have to be the airport, and it doesn't
No.
have to be weddings, it doesn't have to be, to Jason's point, he's got 35 acres, and he wants to get a conditional use permit to be a concert venue.
Well, it's sort of like Blaze. They've got a conditional use permit for their
Right,
concerts.
and so the planning board, correct me if I'm wrong, can't just say no, right? You have to hear the application and make sure he complies with conditions.
If it's an allowed use in that zone, yes.
Correct. So if Jason wants to do that, he doesn't need to come in every time he wants to do a concert, and he doesn't need to get a bond.
Correct,
Okay.
right, because he's established his business as being
Yeah, that's
an
what-
event. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's my understanding of what we've just said right now is that the second paragraph under minor mass gatherings, the select board would like to, so it would read, gatherings intending to attract less than 300 participants do not require a conditional use permit from the planning board, but must get an event permit from the select board. Is that amenable to
Yeah,
you?
that was my,
Yep, okay.
I mean, I don't
Okay.
know what the other board
So
members.
what happens in this instance is that these recommended changes, the planning board will have to have a meeting on January 5th, which I think is the first Monday of January, whatever that day is, to vote on these in order to get it to Patty by, I think it might be the 19th.
14th,
The
yep.
14th, okay.
By the latest, the 17th, but she said the 14th. to me.
Okay, we can do that easily enough. Okay, is there anything else on that one?
Man, you're going to hate me.
No, just, I'll let you know if I do.
I'll give you a copy of what I made.
Okay, so under the nonprofit organization church on the second page. Yes, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
Bonnie.
Just before you leave this page, could you summarize for those of us who've been listening and processing with you all. Is it going to change your suggestion to the select board with everything going on at the public hearing tonight to mass public gatherings, X out the outdoor?
We're removing the word outdoor, just so mass
Are you-
public.
is that
That's
what
what
you
I
all
have
said?
down here.
Just,
Yeah.
okay, so we're on the same page.
Yep.
And also then, are we going to change, clean up the language according to what David saw to any gathering intending to attract and X out attracting or intending?
No, we're
Under
going-
major and minor both, that verbiage right off, it should be any gathering intending to attract. And then under minor mass, any gathering intending to attract.
Well,
Just like that last paragraph there says gatherings intending to attract. Isn't that the point you were making, David?
I'm sorry.
No, he was.
I thought it was a spelling error. I thought it should say intended, gatherings
it wasn't.
intended
It was
to
intended.
attract.
I think it's laid out correctly.
Yeah.
Well, see, it's, where
I
it's
hear what you're
highlighted
saying,
there.
Bonnie, that the two paragraphs above say any gathering attracting or intending to attract.
I
And
think
that
the
third-
highlighted portion, sorry,
Yep.
were the changes from their last meeting, right?
Right,
Yeah.
the yellow highlighted.
The
yeah.
highlighted portion is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The highlighted portion is the way it should read.
In
Well,
my
that's
head, I
what
thought
we
it should say
voted.
intended.
That's what the
but-
planning board
yeah.
voted.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's the way these other two.
I understand what
Yep.
you're saying, that we did not include the word attracting under that second paragraph under minors. So you're suggesting it should be gatherings attracting or intending
No.
to attract?
No, I thought I was just making sure that before you went on, that we all understood that what David had suggested, what I was trying to.
He was going to use a past tense, so we're not going to do what he said.
I don't think we should. I think it
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
any
we're not.
gathering intending to
Yeah,
attract.
Yeah, yeah,
Any gathering intending to attract.
yeah,
And then gatherings intending to attract.
yeah.
Okay,
like
oh, so are we being recorded tonight?
Yes, we
This is
are.
a public hearing.
This-
Oh, yeah.
That's fine. I just saw a planning board meeting from December 11th being shown on there, so.
Yeah.
Well, don't
We're-
worry
we're
about
being
that.
We're being
Yeah,
recorded.
Thank you, Owen.
yeah. All right, we're on to the next, yes, Jay, did you, on the first page?
Yeah, I was following the conversations about whether or not it's a business or whether it's a one-time event, and I'm still not sure we settled on that, or I didn't get clarification on it anyways, because this doesn't, the way that this is currently written doesn't say, unless you already have a conditional use permit for a venue,
No, no,
for
no,
business
no,
venue.
no, no.
So is this intending that a
This is
business
intended,
venue
this is intended
gets
that
that-
anyone who, be it the airport, be it Jason, be it whoever it is, that has a mass gathering, they have to come in for this mass gathering permit. If they,
even if you have
even if you have a
permitted
business.
venue.
Even if you have a permitted venue, like Jason's used his property as an example, then you would not have to come every time.
Right,
'cause
so
you-
basically, this is for a mass gathering, any mass gathering not business model related. Business model related, they're gonna have to go to the planning board anyways before they even get to this point. And then they're gonna put their restrictions and their stuff on it to begin with.
Okay.
So,
But
this is just right now relative to any non-business related mass gathering right at this present time in this,
Right.
in this town.
But this doesn't say that.
It don't have to.
But,
This is a mass any
yeah,
mass
it's a
gathering in
mass
this town.
gathering, Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward.
But you just said, unless you have a permitted use for it.
Well, why would we put that in there? Because if
Yeah.
they have a permitted use, they're not coming to get this,
Yeah, yeah.
right? They've already been
As an
permitted.
example,
It
Jake,
doesn't say that. That's
It
what I'm
doesn't-
saying,
it
is
doesn't have to.
it doesn't,
This says the applicability of this is anytime you have more than 300 people.
Oh.
Even your permitted use has more than 300 people. It does not say unless you have the existing conditional use permit for having.
I
a
think
venue.
that would be confusing to most people, to be very honest with you. I think this is pretty straightforward in how it's worded, if it's adopted by the town. I sometimes think you can get too involved in the verbiage and it becomes even more confusing. I would rather have someone come in if they had a question and ask than to go ahead and plan a mass gathering and then Craig have to go and shut them down because they didn't come and get a permit. moving on to the second page, nonprofit organization or church. We eliminated a sentence that was in the ordinance. I didn't bring my ordinance book, I apologize for that. The fee for a conditional use permit or an event permit is waived for this entity, and we removed that. Then under charitable organizations, the third paragraph down that reads, the provisions in this ordinance do not apply to events sponsored by the MSAD 6 school department or any other agency of the town. We removed that. And then we removed the whole event owner operator because it's addressed somewhere else on the next page. So
On
we
number
just-
5.
Yeah,
Well,
we just took that whole thing out. Under requirements for a conditional use permit or event permit for mass gatherings, once again, it's in here that it says the provisions of this mass gathering ordinance do not apply to events sponsored by SAD 6, school department, or any other agency of the town of Limington. What? What?
Revert to David.
What? Yes, David?
Two things on this page. We haven't gotten down to number 1 yet, but D, requirements for conditional use permit or event permits for mass gatherings. My view, my opinion on this is that the town and MSAD 6 should not be waived from the process of doing a mass gathering, but should be waived from the fees. I think we as a town and the district itself should go through the process because we're having our citizens go through the process. We should not be exempt from the process. But as far as the fees, I don't think we should pay taxpayer money for fees. But I think we should still go through the process. Because if we're going to have a huge gathering, we should probably go through making sure we have toilets, making sure we have proper EMS, making sure we have proper security, making sure that.
So you think they should get both a conditional use permit and an event permit?
Yes.
Okay.
Just not the fees. I mean,
Right, I
still go
understand
through the
that.
process because we might have people in the public that don't want an event at the school who live across the street.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And we might have abutters around those facilities, even our own parks here, that might not want an event in their backyard.
I understand.
So, and if we exempt ourselves, then we're just going to do it without comment, you know? So I think that we should still go through the process,
Okay.
get the public comments from
I
it,
don't have any problem with
you
that.
know, come to amends.
Bonnie?
I just really support that, not for the reason that you cited a moment ago, but really because I think to set a good example, it's great. And
Yeah.
there's so many people who would be involved with a Town of Limington event who then in another capacity would have to do it, but they didn't for that one. And it just
Yeah.
seems like honorably it would be the right thing to do.
Yeah,
And
I
not
think
that-
we should just go through the same process, you know?
Okay. Mass gathering,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
mass gatherings, let's put an S in there.
So I wrote it here.
Oh, you've got it down?
Could I just ask a couple questions? Because I want to make sure I understand it correctly. So,
That's just how I worded it.
in the case of Moimedeo, if I'm going to have more than 300 people there on a beach day, do I have to come get a permit for that?
Do you have a continuing use permit for Momodale?
No, he doesn't have a conditional use
We'll
permit.
see you next
He
month.
never has been.
4th of July.
4th of July, the parade, the fireworks.
You, know,
So-
you have to use some common sense here, folks, I think. Well, let's not tie ourselves in knots, because,
This is why I kind of didn't, when we were discussing this, David, if for these, we, the town, are expected
But-
to know this and to do this. All of our safety factors, the fire, the EMS, the policing, we're expected to do this. And I understand, when you brought it up, I kind of, yeah, you're right, David.
I mean,
But we're.
nothing
my-
against the parade
my-
and stuff, but
my point
our
is we-
butters
we
along
already
the parade
follow it.
wait a
route.
minute, wait a minute. one
I
other-
believe we're already following it when we do it.
Yeah.
That's, this last year, it was, traffic was out in 12, 13 minutes at the fireworks. I mean, we always look to exceed it even more, even though you got screamed at, but.
We got screamed
No,
at a
but,
lot.
I understand your point, and I see both sides of it. I just thought,
So
I
for
told
me,
you-
like for your events, we already know the dates on them, right? So pre-planning hearings and stuff like that prior to, just to get the people's word on it, you know?
But
But it's
okay,
hard.
And I don't disagree with what you're saying, the point
Yeah.
behind it. But like Moimedeo, I don't necessarily know when there's going to be 300 or more, but there are days.
But you're talking
when
about
there's
people who
300
are
or more.
paying to get in there, right?
Paying to get to the beach, you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
Oh, my
At
goodness.
Moimedeo.
that is not a mass gathering that
That's-
you're putting
Yes, it
together.
is.
He's not
But
inviting
that's-
people.
It's not a mass gathering, what is it? There's more than 300 people.
That's right. It's so where are we at with this? That's
And
the-
I just
that's-
want to understand this.
Yeah,
And I
I
don't
know.
think I've ever
Passes, I
seen
wanna
300
know.
people at Momodeo, so.
See, that's why I'm saying
Yeah.
common sense has to be used. And to me personally, if we get this so involved and people take a look at it, you may as well tear this piece of paper up. It will never get passed at town meeting. You have to be reasonable.
It's because of the reason it's being brought to us, so.
Okay.
Yeah, this year, thank you, Madison.
No problem.
But
It's a good
still,
point. It's a
like,
very good.
we already get complaints of people going down to Momodeo anyways because of the road conditions
Yeah.
and speeding.
Yeah.
So,
Year after year, we talk about how common sense isn't so
Yeah.
common anymore, so.
Right,
just
I
throwing
understand
out
that
there.
too, but individual
And when you go to
responsibility
court,
too.
is that what your defense is gonna be, is that
No.
it's common sense?
But I'm saying, unless you, the public and the select board, want this to be reviewed by a lawyer to make sure it will pass substance in a court situation, we probably should put this on hold and do it for next year. Because that kind of language, to be that specific and to cover every single possible incidents that could occur, is pretty darn hard to do.
Absolutely. All for one concert. And I was thinking, while people are going over
And-
this,
Could I just add one thing?
Yeah.
And this language was taken from Freiburg, Hollis, Standish, Buxton, I think, and there's one other town, I can't remember. But so, none of what we're talking about here presently about getting that much into the nitty-gritty was in any of their language. Doesn't mean we can't do it here if you want to, but I'm just saying.
so I was curious, though, the people who complained about the concert, which is the reason for this.
They complained
ordinance.
because it was in their backyard. You
Right.
did not hear anything from anyone else.
No, I agree with that 100%, so we're doing it for a few, but I am curious, what does this ordinance do that addresses what their concerns were? I'm not sure.
Perhaps not all of their concerns have been addressed.
Have any of them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Noise.
yeah, yeah. And noise
Which could
was
be-
not an
could-
issue.
Could be solved by a noise ordinance,
Yeah,
though.
yeah, well.
Which we
There
have.
wasn't a noise problem, and I
There
just,
wasn't,
to
Yeah.
further reiterate,
no. We fully
I
listed.
don't, where are the people?
Yeah,
I'm just being
yeah.
straight to the point with all of you in the audience. Where are the people?
Well, the point being, if I may, Jason, the people were at the planning board public hearing.
Two.
One.
No, I think there were three. One came with his two kids and left early, but anyway.
The abutters.
But anyway, they had the opportunity, I gave them the opportunity to review all of this before the public hearing, and they had the opportunity at the public hearing, and there was, I don't, Bob, remember any major objections, or if we, I thought we had addressed their concerns, when we wrote the thing, we were taking their concerns into consideration. So there were no major changes that I can recall at our public hearing that they insisted be made. So as far as I know they're not thrilled. Probably nobody would be thrilled if 1,000 people were in their backyard. But it's a.
They run around my yard.
The reality is these events probably are going to happen again somewhere, sometime, somehow. And we're just wanting to be better prepared the next time it comes up.
Yeah.
Because we weren't really that prepared, although they did a wonderful job, in my personal opinion, of handling that situation. But this is to make sure everybody's on the same page. Okay?
Yeah. Can we get back to my recommendation?
Yep. What was your?
not excluding MSAT 6 in the town.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. I think that's perfectly
Okay.
legit, and we
Because I
should
think
do it.
people going to Momodeo on a regular basis is not an event we're holding. So it's just open to the public.
Okay. And I do want a copy of yours.
I will give you.
Okay, thanks, okay.
Just to speak to what everybody's touching on.
Could you get to the mic, Timmy?
Please come to the mic and state your name.
Yeah, name and address, please.
Thank you. I think just to touch on everything, on what people are talking about here, that maybe in this ordinance, we can either address 4th of July in Momodeo as a one-time vote at the beginning of the summer that the select board do, or at least to recognize it.
I think it should be just an event, I don't see any reason at all for them to come before the planning board.
That event permit got us in trouble already.
No, but I mean, if it's mentioned and we bring it up and it's covered before summer starts, because to your point, the town goes over the liability of the people that attend parade, fireworks, Momodeo. So maybe it can be mentioned in here, like David said, because it's not gonna, we're not gonna omit the town and SAD 6 from it, but it'll be mentioned in here
Okay.
somehow.
But correct me if I'm wrong, when we have events on the road, there are certain state requirements that we're supposed to do? Signage a week before, a couple days before? He's over there talking. Which did not happen this last year. We had one sign up. So if we had done this permit process, we would know that there were signs set up for the road. Not up here at Cape Road for our fireworks down at.
So I'm going to ask that, David, if you would put together language to address what Tammy said. No, seriously. 'cause
No,
you're good at that. If you would put that language down and have it to me before the 5th of January, on just this specific thing about if you want to mention Momodeo or the 4th of July parade or whatever.
See, I don't see Momodeo as an event. People are paying to come there to use the beach, okay? It's not a special event that we're having a mass gathering there.
Still a mass gathering.
Yeah,
Then we're gonna mass gather the school.
Still a
Because
mass
there's probably
gathering.
300 people
There you
there
go.
every
I
day.
mean,
no,
And
no,
it says
yeah.
events right there.
yeah.
It says to apply to events sponsored. We're not sponsoring people coming to the beach every day during the summer. That is open to the public.
We can omit that,
Yeah.
So,
cover the fireworks.
Yeah,
but when we say, hey, we're gonna give something to you, parade, fireworks, anything else we want to do out here, if we want to continue doing other programs over at the thing, and if it's gonna be more than 300, because we're gonna go to 300,
yeah.
then
So
I think
anyway,
the
you-
town should go through the process.
Yeah, okay. You develop that language, and,
Sorry.
that's okay.
I thought we were developing the language now.
Yeah. Okay, to continue
'Cause
on.
I don't know why we put Momodeo in there. It's not an event.
Can I borrow your pen?
oh, yeah, sure. Let me get-
Sorry, Madison.
That one doesn't, all right.
Language.
Okay, so the
By
final thing
Madison.
on that second page is at the bottom. It was just including the fire chief in having to get the number, the copies of the application.
I had a question on that one too. Sorry,
Yes,
Joyce.
Okay.
Is it possible that we can just have the applicants go to, say, the chairs or a single person, then they can go out to? Because I know it says 13, so you have your
Well,
people on your committee.
Yeah.
We have
Well, because
our,
otherwise, we'd have to copy it and give it to the rest of the board, so they have, that would mean the town would have to copy it, somebody with Donna or whoever, and use up
I
all the
agree with
paper.
that.
It's there, when someone comes for an application before the planning board, they have to submit all the copies required, and this is 13 copies.
All
So
right.
if they can't afford the paper, well, they shouldn't be running the event, I guess.
What she said.
I just figured it can go to the chairs and let them disseminate it
No,
out
it
to
costs
their
the town
staff.
money.
It costs us.
The taxpayers,
Time,
it's on us.
time, and money. Time. You're talking as the time person that would have to do it.
No, you have Donna,
Let's see.
and we
on-
have Matt.
On page 3, the words, if applicable, this is talking about the permitting procedure. And it made sense under that very last sentence that says, promptly following the mass gathering, the town shall release the performance guarantee if the operator pays all cleanup and public costs, if applicable, within 48 hours after the mass gathering. So that's just sort of.
One question, Joyce.
This is number 3. The word if applicable was added in the last line. Under number 5, the event owner operator, it was his. I think it should be his or her designee. And then the event operator or his or her designee shall be required to be on site at all times. We removed at mass gatherings. It was kind of redundant. And then on the 3rd line down, we removed mass gatherings and just put the word event. Sometimes you use the same word too many times. So these are basically pretty simple. Under site, there's in the 2nd paragraph, the words trees, underbrush, large rocks, and other was removed. So now it reads natural features. Instead of saying will, it's shall. Shall is the more effective word from a legal point of view. Be left intact. Protected and maintained so as to facilitate drainage and prevent erosion. And then the words and preserve any scenic attributes was removed because it just didn't seem to be necessary. Now, under number 5, that's where the most changes were made. The permittee shall be responsible for the posting of no parking signs on town streets serving at the area as dictated by the planning board in accordance with direction from the fire chief. And then a new sentence, permission for no parking signs on state roads must be obtained from the appropriate state agency. That was added to cover that. Sure.
Yes.
Thanks. Bonnie Laughlin, on number 3 up at the top there,
Yep.
how does this work when the applicant shall post a performance guarantee or bond in an amount reasonably necessary to ensure prompt payment for all damages, et cetera, who determines the amount and how?
SelectBoard.
So this is, I think
The
this is,
planning board would recommend it under the conditional use permit process.
planning board
we
recommends it.
Would
Okay.
recommend to the select board that a bond or be posted, and it would be up to them to determine what that amount would be.
What the actual amount is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Does that need any more spelling out
No.
here?
No,
I think
it's
I've
standard operating procedure.
I think I've seen this language in other
It is, it's in the
ordinances,
ordinance. in
And
the-
everybody knows how to
Sure.
do it.
Yeah.
And,
There's an equation for it.
Yeah,
okay.
okay,
I have, sorry, I
okay,
have
no, go
notes
ahead.
on pretty much every page.
Sure,
So also on 3, myself and my opinion only, private property should be removed from any bonds because I still feel that we should not be bonding private citizens to have events on their property. So I think it should be a public land that's used. Like say somebody wants to use our public land for mass gatherings, then we would put a
Well,
bond.
then are you saying that someone like the airport who wants to do a concert, again, let's say they shouldn't have to post a bond?
Right.
That's okay.
It's private property, yeah.
No, well, now, then
So-
you're just, you are you're disregarding or just doing away with all the other languages in there.
No, I'm just talking about bonding.
Yes, Bob?
The driving force behind that was a scenario where if you had an event on a private property and let's say it was a windy day, trash cans fell over, trash goes through the neighborhood abutting, then it was for a scenario like that or some other nuisance created by the gathering that affected the abutters in one way or another. That was really what drove that. Even though it was on private property, it could still happen.
Yeah, so my thing, and I think we talked about it once, about holding people accountable on their own property, their private property, as a government, right? And if it is a windy day and goes to other butters, that's a civil matter, and we've talked about this with the airport itself, the town's not gonna get involved. It is between two neighboring people if the trash goes across it. So why would we bond a private citizen? Because if it's me and my trash goes over there, I'm gonna let the town clean it. Collect my bond, have fun cleaning it.
Plus to protect the people.
So they can, that's where it comes into a civil matter, which we keep falling back onto the airport.
But if we don't do that, and then it happens, and then we say, good luck, then we get,
Yeah.
scrutinized by.
Well,
the-
then the neighbors and the
But then we would
general
have to
public
bond you on your private property to run stuff, so.
Right, I mean, it's,
When a person is bonded and has purchased the bond, they are going to be more cognizant of whatever damages they may or may not have created than they would if there were no bond and you said it was just a civil matter. Civil matter, your problem. You want to pick it up, you pick it up. And now you're into that. But to me, the bond is more of a deterrent or an assurance
Assurance, yeah.
that that person will be more diligent on taking care of whatever the.
Because they
Exactly.
basically get the money back if everything is.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
if they got nothing to
who's
worry
to say,
about.
I'm gonna say, your trash is on my property?
Well, you need to photograph it and do all that. No,
But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be private property. It should be public property for, if a private citizen's using public property to protect our own property, so. Number 5, just wording change. I don't know, it just sounds weird to me. And I just wrote the event operator, owner, or his or her designee shall be required to always be on site instead of shall be required to be on site.
I think at all times, it says, if you finish the sentence, it says the event operator owner or his or her designee shall be required to be on site at all times.
Yeah, I removed all that and just put required to always be on site.
Well, that's redundant,
Yeah.
to say always and all times. is
I didn't leave all times. I removed it.
Oh, well, I think that's,
It's the same thing.
yeah, same thing.
It's just a wording change,
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah.
Under E, conditional use permit events, in reviewing the event, I said remove because a conditional use permit. In reviewing the conditional use permit, just remove an event.
Wait a minute, I'm not quite sure what you removed. Did you remove the heading or the
Nope.
paragraph?
Just in the paragraph under E, conditional use
Yeah.
permit.
So
Because you
what-
have conditional use permit there and event permit as the title. And then in reviewing the event, just remove event, so it matches the title.
Oh, I see.
Conditional use permit and event permit application.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah, okay, yep, okay, gotcha.
And then, site, safety and access, under site. I said what?
Which
Oh,
number are you on?
number 1,
Number
sorry.
1, okay.
It does say outdoor event again, so I don't know if we should change it to event only, event assembly area.
Yeah, probably.
And then I was confused on well drained.
Well drained,
The outdoor event assembly area will
Yeah.
be well drained
yeah.
and so arranged to provide sufficient space for attendees.
Yeah, I agree there, that probably that's a little.
Because I'm not changing my properties
yeah.
topography
Okay, so we'll take.
for well drained
Topography.
topography.
Okay, so it will read now, would read now, the event assembly area will
be
be
arranged.
so arranged to provide sufficient space for attendees, vehicles, sanitary facilities, and appurtenant equipment. Okay, we'll take out well-drained. and-
Yeah, it seemed, I was like, well drained.
And so will be arranged to provide, okay.
Yeah.
So there are 4 words that are being, the words
Well-drained and
well-drained
so.
and so are being removed.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then number 2, I wasn't sure if we should just add natural land instead of natural features.
There
What
could
if,
be
what if,
trees.
what if the
Trees.
features are trees and rocks and that have been there? I think features probably is, at this,
Yeah.
well, Well, you know, and
It was just
also,
a question.
under number 1, the word will should be changed to shall. I remember years ago, when I first came on the planning board, we had Judge Fricky was his name, from Portland come and speak to us. And he was very adamant about stressing the difference between when you get into a court room, the difference between the word will and shall is much more mandatory. So I missed this one, but I changed most of the wills to shalls. Like in number 2, I changed it to shall.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, just looking back on my notes real quick, Bonnie.
Yep, yeah, well, let's finish with David, please.
I did change it to just the wording on number 1, site, because I put site, outdoor, indoor in parentheses. And then the outdoor event assembly area, I did leave outdoor assembly area, but have proper rain water drainage, but
Yeah, well,
we can
we
remove
removed
that.
that, yeah. Bonnie?
So what is, thanks, Joyce, but I didn't understand what your clarification, what was your suggestion for the wording then on 1?
Sure, for number 1?
The whole thing?
So I think it should just say the event assembly area shall have, and then remove drainage.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
I heard that part, but then
Yeah.
what were you saying about rain?
Well, he was just
I
ad-libbing.
yeah. I
Okay.
did originally say that it should be outdoor event assembly shall, because I was just making notes over the week. Because if we were gonna leave drainage in there, and I'm assuming it has to do with water draining from
So
the property,
we removed that.
but then we would require somebody to change their
It was
property.
just the 4 words that
Yeah.
Joyce said. a minute
Yeah.
ago. Okay.
Bonnie, you had a
In
question?
number 2, I would suggest that natural features such as trees,
No,
underbrush.
we
It's
just.
all
we-
through
we-
that.
we
It's all
took-
covered.
It was in there, but we took it out.
I know, so I'm just saying that I think when we say natural features, it means something different to people. It could mean a building. It could mean something that's
Yeah,
just
well,
there.
once again.
Again, I'm
that's-
just suggesting
yeah.
it.
Yeah, I know,
I'm not
I
sure
know.
why
It's
you're
okay.
so quick to discount my suggestion. I thought it was tilting towards something David was picking up on a
No,
moment ago.
no.
You just want to keep natural features
I
in?
think that the
I don't
discussion on the board was that natural features would apply to
Okay,
what exists at the
I
time.
don't see
I-
anybody coming in, removing a building to do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
my
mean,
question
you
was
just
only
mentioned
natural.
buildings. I
Either
don't
say
think it-
natural land or just
Yeah.
leave it natural.
I
Because
would
they already
say-
moved it in their
I
meeting,
think it's
so.
no big deal to say natural features such as trees, underbrush, and large rocks, especially trees.
That's what I struck out.
Okay. We're moving on to the next page, under medical. We added, so the first sentence will read, emergency medical services shall be provided by the permittee. And then we removed the last sentence, the Limington Fire Department will be on call if further assistance is required. And that was at Emo's request that we remove that. Going on to noise and hours. That 70 decibels, I believe, coordinates with what's in the ordinance. On the second paragraph, no, we removed the word large outdoor event and referred to major or minor mass gathering shall continue beyond 10 p.m. And then we added the final sentence, no major or minor mass gathering shall convene prior to 7 a.m. Now, one of the things that I just learned a couple of days ago from Sandy, I can't remember her last name, is that the fishing derby, the Horn Pond Fishing Derby starts actually at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So, if, let's say that, not if, but they would come in for a permit, and we would have to give them an allowance, if you will, that,
Special conditions.
yeah, so that they could begin at the time. And just also so you know that she was very, very pleasant to speak with. Instead of starting the fishing derby off with a rocket boom, they're going to start it off with a flare, because one of the gentlemen who lives down there on Horn Pond complained about the noise and the firecrackers at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, kids waking up, et cetera, et cetera. And that's something that we have no control over. We do not have an officer of the law in the town, a constable or whatever. Although she did say to me that inland fisheries and wildlife people are there all the time, which I don't think is absolutely true, but probably a lot of the time. So anyway, we felt that maybe if they didn't use the initial rocket with a boom noise to it and just used the flare, that maybe the fireworks wouldn't come around, because they don't really control a fair amount of what goes on down there, as far as that fishing derby is concerned. Okay, let's move on down to alcoholic beverages. We removed, if alcoholic beverages are sold at the mass gathering, sale of these beverages shall be limited so that public safety and order will not be impaired. And that leaves, once again, it's very innocuous. So what we ended up saying was the sale of alcoholic beverages shall be in compliance with the laws of the state of Maine. Any comments on that page? No?
Yes.
Yes, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Go ahead,
So I was looking at the medical section,
yeah.
and it sounds perfect, but I rewrote it to say this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the permittee shall have a plan to provide first aid and/or emergency medical service, because some events will only have first aid personnel, not necessarily medical services, to attendees in the event of a medical emergency. And then the Limington Fire Chief shall receive a copy of the application and safety plan for the mass gathering and be able to review the applicant's proposed staffing and equipment lists be provided for gathering and make any recommended changes necessary to accommodate safety and treatment of individuals. I put in parentheses, this allows advance notice for the Limington Fire Department to make necessary changes internally if changes are needed or called for.
What was that?
Yeah, I know.
I don't
That's a lot
have
for
any
you,
problem
Jason.
with that personally, if the fire chief agrees with it.
Yeah.
You guys are more the experts on how that language would be. So if you know, if
Yeah.
that's what you folks want, we can easily, if you give me that
I'm
language.
not medically trained, so
Well,
I divert to David.
No, seriously, if that makes it
Because
clearer
they-
and a better understanding, I don't have any problem.
I was just thinking along the lines, because emergency medical services is going to be licensed providers, right? But he
I
can
think-
have
I think the way they.
He can have
leave it
first
in their
aid.
hand.
crew. So most of them will probably be licensed providers, but
But at the end of the day, it's on them to, basically it's on them to supply
Right, whatever
their
it
own
is, yeah.
medical personnel,
Right.
whether it be first aid and CPR or a paramedic.
yeah,
So, but if you feel that's necessary, then write it up.
Yep,
I
just-
did.
Yep, okay,
Okay.
good.
The other thing I was hoping to note, if we can say just a blurb under noise and hours, maybe refer to town noise ordinance.
That's what the 70 is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what the 70 decibels says.
Yeah.
anyway.
it's right off the town ordinance.
I know it's off the town ordinance, but the town ordinance is for noises longer than 70 decibels.
So you,
Just a blurb, refer to noise ordinance, town noise ordinance. And then it's just a visual thing for me. If we can switch no mass gathering, minor or major, the 7 a.m., the 10 a.m. lines, just flop them. So the 7 a.m.'s on top and the 10 a.m.'s on the bottom. I'm sorry, 10
Say
p.m.
that again, I was
He wants to take
writing.
these two and just turn them.
Just flop them.
Put the 7 AM up front.
It's a visual.
and then Put the,
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Just move the conditions. Yeah,
Say-
yeah. It's a visual thing. And then did we get, we did do refuge disposal. Again, I crossed out
Where's
immediate
that?
surrounding,
on number 2 under
number
refuse?
2, but we've already discussed it earlier, so. The grounds and immediate surrounding property shall be cleared
Yep.
of refuge within 48 hours.
And you think that's redundant, as it, we already had it earlier in the,
We've spoke about it already, so,
that makes sense.
but that just,
you want to take it out?
Yeah,
how far into the immediate surrounding is this person going to be required to?
okay, yeah, well, we did address it earlier on in the, yes, Jake?
Couple of things under medical, can we just say that adequate medical services shall be provided by the permittee? Does that simplify that?
I leave that to David. I
And then-
don't, David and the fire
Well,
chief.
I thought it did,
And then.
I don't think we've ever discussed what adequate amount of security EMS was for the different levels of mass and minor gatherings, did we?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can't,
Right, because
we
then
don't
the-
have a.
So I know we
it
have,
comes down to the fire chief to approve or deny
Correct.
or suggest more. So if we just say adequate.
because how did we
then it's all
determine
falls.
toilets
Yeah,
for
right.
the?
Well,
It is a
and
equation.
adequate can be
Yeah.
interpreted by different ways,
Yeah.
by different people, so I think that,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then about noise, I mean, can't we just say that
well, you have to,
major and minor mass gatherings shall only be held between 7 and 10?
we've already, well,
Instead of like just.
Just set of two lines,
Yeah, just simplify it and say, this is. what-
combine it to one line.
Just a suggestion, just simplify it.
well, the way it is, you have, to me, that doesn't make any difference, but having them separate, you've got to read both lines, whereas you might read part of the sentence and not finish it. So, sort of what I see when I look at it, but I don't think that's a big deal,
Okay.
okay? On the last page, under state license, the word license was taken out and permit was put in. And, we haven't made any changes to that from what we voted. And have you, any thoughts on it? See how I pick up on these things?
I love
guys?
you, Joyce. I just hope that when we have the final version, we do spell check. So,
Excuse me? You know whose computer this is on?
Permitee.
Wait.
I wrote it, I changed it and things, I'll
Where?
send it to you.
Where?
It's gonna be under F1B. It's the last word, permit E.
Oh, that's right, I missed that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
There're just some like
Yep,
just
you're right.
errors, commas and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so. But the only thing I did change, or just a suggestion in my head, because I've read these enough for
Mm-hmm.
the fire chief.
Yep.
F1, should it say comma, may include requiring the applicant to? So the select board may deny or grant the permit, and if granting the permit, impose such reasonable conditions on the issuance as would safeguard the public interest, comma, may include requiring the applicant to have A, B, C.
Well, no, that may is too optional. If you want it to include that, you either say it should include it or you don't put it in.
So this is the select board's decision,
Yes,
so we may not do a performance
that's
guarantee.
right, exactly, and you have that perfect right
So
to do it.
could we
the way
change
it's
it to
written.
may include?
May deny or grant.
Yeah,
What's wrong with that? We're either gonna deny it or grant it.
Yeah. But if we grant it, it may include one of those three options.
If granting.
If we
impose
grant it,
such
then it
reasonable
will
conditions on the
include
issuance.
requiring the applicant to have.
well, it says in the first sentence, the select board may deny or grant the permit. And if granting the permit, or if you want to say, if they
No, if
grant the permit,
granting the permit.
impose such.
The wording in my head, sorry, Joyce, the wording in my head doesn't give us the option to not do a performance grant.
Why not? It says in the very beginning, the select board may deny or grant.
That's deny or grant the whole thing.
Right, exactly. But if you are going to,
But if we're going to grant, then we have the option to give them a performance guarantee or not, right?
yep,
But in my head here, it just says, in that last sentence, would safeguard the public interest I got lines there, including requiring the applicant to have.
and you want it to say may require.
May include, requiring,
May,
may or not
Yeah.
include, sorry.
uh,
Yeah. Because to me, this sounds like the select board is getting their hands tied that we have to do A, B, and C.
May impose such reasonable conditions.
Does that make sense? Even though earlier in this conversation, you said
okay,
we
yeah,
can or
maybe- yeah,
cannot
but
do.
I think Jason may have a
Yeah.
point. If you put the word on the first line before the word, so it would read, the select board may deny or grant the permit, and if granting the permit may pose, then you'd,
Yeah.
okay,
So we'll just move it up in the wording.
yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
exactly.
Because
Okay.
just in my head, it shows that we have to do,
We
if
have
we
to.
say,
Yep.
hey, yeah, you're gonna get this,
Yep.
you're gonna get A, B, and
Yep,
C.
I agree,
So,
okay, thanks.
but earlier in our conversation, you said we had a choice,
Yep.
so,
I'll accept that, Jason,
yes, good job, Jason.
On the last page, under appeals, we just, under the very last, the next to last word, under the
Oh.
first paragraph, it says 5 business days as opposed to just 5 days.
I have additional stuff. Sorry, Joyce.
That's okay. No, that's what we're here for.
Sorry, Tim.
And the FinCom is sitting there saying, are they ever
I'll
going
make
to
it
get over
quick.
this?
I'll just make it quick. So under G, conditional use permit planning board,
Wait a minute, you're on.
We're back
I
one.
got you back there,
Second
okay,
last
yeah,
page.
yeah.
I'm not sure why I said remove in order. It's the third line down in that first paragraph, shall be provided at the site of the event. I underlined in order and said remove, so I'm assuming I wanted to shall be provided at the site of the event to protect the health and safety instead of in order to protect.
Oh, to protect. Take
To
out the words
protect,
in
yeah.
order?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any problem with that.
And then number 2,
And put shall,
yeah.
shall, right? You
Sorry.
put
Shall-
shall in there?
No, shall's already
No,
in
just
there.
remove it.
Oh, just
Shall's
remove it.
already there.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, number 2, G2, it says adequate firefighting, rescue, police, personnel, facilities, equipment, and first aid. I just put in wording like adequate fire prevention, first aid EMS, and security.
same
Because
thing.
this is gonna make sure that,
Well, wait a minute, but you make it sound as though the town is going to provide that when you put in EMS and whatever.
but it's the wording though, because the planning board itself is doing a conditional use permit, right?
Right.
You're gonna require them to have adequate firefighting.
Right.
I just said fire prevention. It could be
Okay.
fire extinguishers, it could be water source, it could be
Fire prevention.
something, right?
Okay, gotcha.
And instead of saying rescue, going back to having if I saw rescue on there, I'd be like, there's gonna be an ambulance down there, right? Just first aid or EMS, right?
So
And then
remove,
police personnel, we're not gonna require them to have state police on site
No.
or county on site, just say security, because they might have their own security
okay,
teams.
yep, which they did
Yeah.
before security, I don't have any problem with that.
Especially if it's through like a business that does promotional stuff, so.
All right, so,
I mean, they could go out and get police to come in and contract them,
right,
but
that's their option, yeah.
this just goes back to like, the wording is
Yeah.
gonna force them to look for police.
Yeah, so
There's-
what did you take in place of the word rescue? I didn't get, you were talking fast there.
I just put fire prevention, first aid / EMS,
First
aid,
aid/EMS.
and security. I left facilities and equipment alone, but then removed first aid at the end. I just combined it with
Yep,
EMS.
Okay, that
Removed
makes
it up
sense,
front.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And then number 3, I had a question about adequate water supplies. Is this drinking water, wastewater, wash water?
Yes.
All of the above.
Yeah.
That's a
It
good-
just popped in my head
Yeah.
because you said water supplies,
Bob,
so I was
do you
like,
remember- Bob,
What's that there?
Bob, do you remember,
Huh?
Water covers it all.
yeah.
I mean, it's gotta depend on the event.
I think at the time we were talking about,
You have sanitation on here.
Yeah.
sanitation.
should we remove that then?
Yeah, because you have waste disposal
Okay,
facilities,
okay, all right,
so.
well, we remove number 3.
Yeah, it was just confusing me, what kind of water supplies? Because I'm sure an event planner is going to
Yeah.
have water,
Yeah,
drinks, a bar.
Okay, gotcha.
Adequate communication equipment, are we speaking radios, phones?
Oh, yeah, that's, I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty straightforward.
In other words, they would list what kind
Yeah.
of communication equipment they have.
Good question, then.
Yes, ma'am.
Do any of those satisfy our thinking about such facilities as porta potties?
Yes, yes, they
Wait.
are
Which
addressed.
one of those? Adequate waste disposal facilities doesn't really say it to me. nor does,
So could that be trash and,
I'm just curious how these other towns address that, because I bet they do. The Freiburg-
There was a formula, Bonnie, and I can't quite, so many porta potties for so many people.
I think something should be said more specifically
It's under,
about.
it's under sanitation.
It is under sanitation.
It's under sanitation. The required sanitation facilities will be conveniently accessed and well marked. Toilets shall be provided at a ratio
Yeah.
of 1 for each 150
Yeah.
attendees.
So I thought it was in there. Thank you very much. Thanks. All right, anything else on the last page or two?
I do, but I'll pass it on to you so we can go home.
Which one?
It was 6, but I think it's just the wording.
Well, 6 is now 5 because we took 3 out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it don't count, Dave.
Gosh, I'm gonna have to rewrite this.
What do you have, what's the
So
problem
what
with
I
that?
initially changed it in my notes was provide a detailed plan showing how crowd control and security of private and/or public property will be accomplished. Shall inform the governing law enforcement agency at the time of gathering such plans.
We don't have a law enforcement agency in town, so that's not, can't go in there.
That would be Maine State Police.
Yeah, well, what they say. Provide a detailed plan showing how crowd control, probably, security and police protection of private property will be accomplished.
I mean, you can almost remove police protection.
Yeah, and
Because
I
security
added
is
public
police
and
protection.
private because what
We're
if somebody
not-
wants to use
We're not
our,
involved in the police side of it.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
So I think it provide a detailed plan showing how crowd security of private property will be accomplished.
Okay.
yeah.
Private. Yeah, private and public.
Well, this was to address the abutters.
Yeah. So I think, me personally, I think they should inform the Maine State Police, because they do cover the area, that a large amount of people are here. Instead of them just finding out because there's a fight
So,
or a complaint.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think there's a state law requiring it.
No, this is our requirement, not the state.
Right. But the state's not saying they need to be.
Well, would you alert the state police, or would you alert the county sheriff's office?
State, because they cover our town.
Well, county is still available to cover the town.
County doesn't come to Limington. Even though you pay county
Okay.
tax.
You can show me your language
I will
on
show
that,
you this,
and
yes.
we'll amend that. Not necessarily using every word you had, but we will amend it.
And then the other thing I just had was in number 2, H2, where it says, permit of any permittee in the town, just say Town of Limington.
And permittee is misspelled.
And it's, yeah. Spell check.
I mean, okay. I mean, it wouldn't be the town of Standard or
Right.
Limerick or.
Yeah, this is, because this is going to go into the Limington zoning ordinance, it would,
I mean, yeah,
It
it
would
shouldn't
be
have
the
to
town.
specify, but
Yeah.
if you
But
feel
in-
so.
A, purpose, we use the Town of Leamington.
that's right. That's because that's the way legally it needs to state specifically. So, okay.
Just wording.
Yep. Any other comment from anybody else?
I'm done.
What was your decision about mentioning, as we were discussing 6, what was your conclusion about whether state police
Yeah,
would be
state
notified?
police, state police.
Will be notified.
Yeah, it just says governing law enforcement agency, so, and we know that it's Maine State Police, so.
No, I like that they would be
Yeah.
notified. I was just making sure.
That way it's just not a surprise to them. Like, we're going about our business, we know what's going on here, and then, oh, look, there's
All
a
right.
gathering.
I'm going to suggest, since it's 8:45, that we probably covered pretty much in depth everything here. And what will happen next is the planning board, I'll establish a meeting for the first Monday in January. We will make these changes, and then we have to get them to Patty. And now I think the finance committee probably would like to meet and be able to get,
Get a copy of the amended,
I will go home and correct it on my
and then just
computer. And
email
I'll-
it to me.
I'm going to email it to everybody.
Everybody.
everybody,
And you're looking at the first Monday in January.
for the next planning board meeting to talk about this. Right now, we don't have a meeting scheduled, but,
Joyce, I'll send you this before I leave tonight.
would you please?
Yep.
That would be great.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. Thank you, David. Oh,
Sorry,
that's
everybody.
okay.
Good.
That doesn't work.
That does. I gotta work it.
I know, but it would work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Thanks, Joyce.
You have a lovely tan, though.
Okay, now that will end the public
I know she didn't.
portion.
I make a
Public
motion
hearing
to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion